Good morning, everybody. Coffee with Max's models, take two. Don't normally do that. I'd forgotten to put the phone in airplane mode, and somebody called right in the middle of my diatribe. And when that happens, it cuts the video camera off. And this is going to be a raw upload. I'm not going to edit this one this morning. Too much going on today. Because sometimes it can take upwards of an additional hour just to edit the morning one. And so I'm already getting a bit of a late start, so I have physical therapy in a while, so I'm just going to upload this one. But I still have coffee left, so we're still good. Heavens to Betsy, I may have to have a second cup. Oh my. So, what I was thinking about, I woke up this morning and I was thinking about displays. And as I came out here, I was thinking, we all display our models different ways, and a lot of people do it in sections, and mine's broken down, aviation and World War II stuff on one side and sci-fi on the other, and the kaiju on top because they're so big. They don't really fit in the shelf. Then non-Star Trek stuff, and then Star Trek stuff all the way down. And then there's also the other side, of course, is the oversized aviation stuff on one side, on top, and then the 148 scale World War II kind of tribute to the World War II aviation and the aviators, the statues on the top shelf, and then World War II stuff and early commercial stuff, and then the whole shelf full of test vehicles and rockets and capsules and things, aerospace. And then below that is the 132nd World War II shelf, sort of in time order. And then below that is the Korean War shelf, all in 148 scale. And then below that is the Vietnam, or really Cold War shelf, not Vietnam, because that stuff that never went to Vietnam. Trivia question, and pause if you have to for a second. Of all the Cold War era jets, from F-100 to F-106, and most of you probably already know where I'm going, you'll probably know this right off the top of your head, what's the one that never fired a shot in anger? I'll wait. F-106, and it had one of the longest service lives. The F-102s did see combat in Vietnam, and one was shot down. And his wingman fired a couple of missiles at the MiG that did it, but they're pretty sure they didn't connect. It wasn't a dogfighter, it was an anti-bomber aircraft. It was a bad idea to use them. But of course the 100s saw a lot of service. The 101s did a lot of recon missions, I believe including during the Cuban Missile Crisis. And we just talked about the 102s. 103 wasn't built. 104s, one of them was, they did see service in Vietnam, and one was shot down over China when the pilot got lost. And I read the book on that, and I was into the, I don't know, not Lance Saijan is Into the Mouth of the Cat. What was it? Journey into Darkness, I think was the name of it. My brother actually met the author, the pilot, and he spent several years as a guest of the Chinese. And then, of course, the 105s saw a ton of combat. In fact, they were losing so many of them that's one of the reasons they wound up adopting the A7 Corsair II, was to replace 105 losses. I think it was Maximus, which is an interesting guy. He runs a channel a little bit like this one. He just talks and shows pictures, and real interesting British, guy. I think he lives in Canada now. Maximus. You might want to check him out. Anyway, he just did a thing I watched last night on the A7. I knew a lot about the plane, but he went into a lot of detail on it. And I didn't realize that one of the reasons it was accepted from the Navy, the Air Force took it, was to replace their F-105 losses. Because, well, just go watch the video. A lot of reasons why it wasn't terribly expensive. It was doing a good job for the Navy. And it's also one of the few Air Force aircraft, apparently, that kept the Navy's folding wings, which actually could be handy even in the Air Force, because these still only have so much hangar space. I never thought about that before. So you see, model building, you keep learning stuff. And then the 106, it was so good, nobody wanted to tangle with it. And if you want to hear a cool story, look up Bruce Gordon's channel. I think it's Pilot Interviews or something. He's an old F-106 driver. And I think this guy flew everything back in the day, baby. And talk about why the F-106 was developed. About the day Russia invaded America and we couldn't catch them. And I'm not joking. That's exactly what happened. Although I kind of think those Russians may have just been lost. But Bear's a fast airplane. Even with a jet and a stern chase, you got your job cut out for you. Sorry, didn't mean to turn this into a history lesson. So anyway, we're talking about how we display our models and stuff. And I have a huge Eastern DC3. I think it's 148 scale. And one reason I haven't gotten around to build it was a gift from a friend. And one reason I haven't gotten around to building it was no place to put it. And so that's kind of becoming a problem. Imagine for a lot of us, you wind up dedicating a whole room to it. And I hope you get your pleasure out of it, because unless you have friends to come look at them, it's, some people they want other people to see their work. Some people are perfectly happy just for them. You know, you build for you, whatever it is that makes you happy. Every once in a while, I'll have someone at the house, I'll see all the models on the shelf, and guys being goes, oh, what's that? And my wife's like, here we go again. And the next hour is just gone talking about, oh, that's a Corsair. And I said, oh yeah, and this one did that. And, oh, you know, that one served in all these. Oh yeah, I actually flew one of those. And that's part of the payoff. Same thing for cars and everything else. And yeah, you know, boys and toys, guys and machines. But you might remember yesterday I was talking about the camera, the cell phone wanted to pop out of the holder because of the, I had that oversized, you know, they have the holder, the safety thing on it, and it was hard to get back in. Well, not anymore. It finally broke today. Chunk popped off. So that explains why I was having trouble with it. So I need a new one of these, I guess. Or, you know, the way I use this phone, I can probably get away with milking a little more life out of this one. Make it easier to pop in and out when I do this. And why am I rambling about that? So, you notice I didn't mention today. So, hopefully I'll finish that up in the next couple of days. I just figure you guys are getting tired of hearing about it. But we got a lot of stuff. My wife and I have a lot of stuff to do today, and I got physical therapy, so I won't get to it till this afternoon. I might sneak over and do something before I go out to PT. But the main thing now is just finish up the harnesses and the horses and then get it all mounted. Once I get everything firmly mounted, I'm going to you know, airbrush a few things, touch up a few things, and then it's off to its owner. Which brings up an interesting question. Now I've got a wooden board with paper mache on top of it. That was primarily just to hide the wood grain, because, you know, wood just soaks up paint. So if you keep trying to paint it and paint it and paint it and paint it, forget it. You're always going to see the wood grain. So you have to cover it with something. Well, I've learned that just taking some cheap newspaper, soaking it in, you know, 50-50 mix of white glue and water, and just lay it down and let it hang off the edges and let it harden. And when it does, you can quick sandpaper block off the edges to get nice smooth edges. And next thing you know, now it's ready for paint. You know, you can put some clear coat over it or something if you want, but now it'll take paint a lot better. That's been my experience. And of course I put a black primer coat. Everybody says, you know, make your base black, and yep, I do. And I believe me, I built plenty of wooden bases. I learned that trick quick. Something I tried one time when I wanted to make a base that was made of wood, but I wanted to give it a smoother, more marbly look. And this was not a huge success. But I mixed up some white glue, probably a 60-40 mix, just so it was nice and runny, but it was still gluey. And I just trolled it on, you know, and let its own weight smooth it out on gravity. And I figured that would put a shell around it, and it did. But the wood was still able to absorb a lot of the moisture and some of the glue, so it was better than it was before, but it did not have that beautiful texture I was wondering. So, but there's all kinds of techniques. You know, that's just me playing around, trying to experiment. And so, I see the Navy's flying overhead in their P-8 Poseidon. Oh, I do have a question for you guys of the day. I don't have an answer for this myself. A couple of kits have popped into mind. Now, I'm not asking about your least favorite kit. I'm asking, what kit did you buy that you most regret having bought? And it doesn't have to be one you didn't finish. It has to be one, God, I just wish I never bought this thing. And I'm having trouble figuring that one out. I really don't know. Sometimes that Vostok comes into mind. It's not the space station, despite all the crap I had with it, the trouble, and didn't even finish that space station. I still don't regret having bought it because I learned a lot from it. It was some interesting techniques in the build, and I've had a lot of fun poking fun at it. So I've gotten something out of the deal. So that's not so much regret. Also, I got it like $10, so I don't regret. You see, that could be it. Maybe the one you regret because you bought it for $50 and you found it a week later for $20 on eBay. And I was going to say the Stagecoach, not that I regret because this is for a friend, but because all the parts that were missing. And then you guys were telling me apparently they ran a production run of them that were notorious for missing an entire runner tree of parts, with half the parts missing. So apparently that was a known thing. So even if I bought one shrink wrapped, I might have still had the same problem. And which means if I'm going to build another one and really want to do it that way, maybe I should. You know what? I don't, because I also had to play with resin. It made me realize how bad my resin skills are, how I need to, and partly for using old resin. Even if I bought another one, and I got to admit, I'm kind of tempted, as aggravating as this be, it's also been a heck of a great learning experience and challenge. I'm halfway inclined to buy another one for me and get a proper resin mold kit and make the missing parts myself. Just partly as an exercise, and make more than what I need, just for the practice. By the way, I don't remember who it was off the top of my head because my memory is, I got serious OMS, old man syndrome. But somebody out there, I think I got an email from somebody who said that her husband watched the channel, and he actually had, I think, some scans or leftover decals or something of the stage that I was welcome to. I already got it done, but thank you. I appreciate the offer and the shout out to you folks who have all made offers of assistance for the instruction sheets, for the decals, all that stuff. It's wonderful. I really appreciate the community that this has kind of evolved into. Which brings up one other thing I want to talk about real quick, and then I'll let you guys go. I have been, like everybody else, I have a series of videos that I watch, and like creators. And it's really great to see these guys have, 100,000 subscribers and everything, or 1 million subscribers. Wow, those guys they're doing this, and that's great. And they monetize, and that's fine. Good for them. They're basically more or less professional YouTubers. And I've had people, when they've seen that I've gotten a reasonable number of subscribers and my videos are hitting 500, 1,000 hits a day, which to me is plenty. They're kind of like, wow, you could turn this into, nope. This is not what I do for a living. This is my hobby. This is one of my great loves. I have a list of, fairly regular people, Mr. Faulkner, Garfield, and Mr. Fago, and a bunch of others. And don't be offended if I didn't call your name and you're watching every day. These are just the ones that popped in my head, the Pursuit of Happy Terry and all you other guys. I mean, guys, you can see, they're in the comments section right there. But what happens is there's sort of, sometimes you send me pictures, and there's sort of I don't know if you would use the word personality, but you see a name that you sort of this, I know this guy builds this or this guy builds that, and you make great comments. And I try to give everybody a like for just to let you know that, hey, I saw the comment and I appreciate it. But I do get so many comments in the course of a day, and I have so many videos, because sometimes they trickle in days later, that you can wind up going through 1,000 comments a day. There's just not time for that. And I'm like, I really like this channel being the way it is, where there's still some kind of personal contact. If by some miracle I was getting, 20,000 hits a day and 1,000, there's no way I'd be able to have that personal touch to it. And that would, that would be cool in its own way, but it would lose something. I kind of like us being a community the way we are. And it'll be something that when I go back to work will survive my decreased schedule. You can tell I keep talking about going back to work, so I'm kind of like, it's out there. Oh, the poor boy has to go back to flying jets in the Caribbean. Hey, I learned a trick this morning. If I want to make myself look better, or if I want my models to look better, if I'm looking at a model, and I think I already knew this, but if I'm looking at a model and going, I need to make that look better, hey, it looks better. Just got to take my glasses off. Hey, I look better that way too. Guys, that's all I got to run. We'll see you later. You have a wonderful day, and we will see everybody tonight after hours.